I'd love to switch gears and talk about your own personal growth. Because, I mean, you were at Yext for 10 years and you sort of ended up doing a job that you had never done before. And I assume you must have learned a ton along the way. But, like, how did you manage to kind of keep up with that company growth curve? How did you keep learning? How did you actually, you kind of joked like you were a fake VP of sales. How did you actually learn how to be a real VP of sales eventually?
Look, the advice that I got early on, from some of my friends and mentors within the business and in the space is, am I allowed to curse on this? I don't know the
Yeah.
rules.
Yes.
It was like, it's okay to fuck up, just do it quickly and don't make the same mistake twice. Right. And I think hearing that and just like not being afraid to try something because it might be right, it might be wrong, is the way to go, right? Obviously you want to like learn from your past experiences, you want to discuss, ideas and things you're trying to implement to make sure that you're thinking about things the right way. But regardless, if everything looks great on paper, when you put it to action, you might fall flat on your face, and that's okay. But you have to be able to be okay with that and then learn from it, not make the same mistake twice, and don't dwell on the mistake you made. Right? There are too many people that will sit there and like, just like wallow in the fact that they screwed up and can't move past it. Like, making mistakes is part of business, it's part of learning. And I think I was given the ability to make some of those mistakes and not quote unquote be punished for them. Right? It was like, okay, you tried, it didn't work, do it again, try something different this time and go after it. And I just think being given that freedom and flexibility allowed me to sort of like flex those muscles to sort of figure out what is the path for success, what is going to lead to, the quickest wins for, for my team, for, for my branch of the organization. And again, I think the last piece of it is, because I didn't step into a true VP of sales role, meaning I didn't step into an organization with 50, 60, 100, 500, 5,000 employees, right? I was able to sort of sit and do each job to learn what success looked like in the role. And I don't want to say it made it easier because it was obviously a long stretch, but it allowed me to speak from experience within that organization, which carries a tremendous amount of weight for those that come after you to look at you and say, like, well, Bryan's saying this not because he thinks it's going to work, because he did it and it worked. And this is why we do things this way.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're very much a servant leader, right? You rolled up your sleeves, you had done the job before, and then you kind of show people how to do the job, and that builds up a lot of trust. And yeah, I don't know, those are my favorite people to work for too.
Yeah. So and again, like if you're, the saying, like, I'm never going to ask somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do myself or haven't done myself or I'm not currently doing myself.
Yeah. Were there any particularly tough moments that kind of stuck out along the way? Where, like, tough conversation with the founder, tough conversation with employees that, I'm sure there's a lot, but yeah, anything that sticks out?
I mean, look, as a growing company and learning along the way, there was, probably too many of those conversations, right? Where, a quarter is not going as you had expected it. Your forecast is, wildly off from what you initially thought was going to come in. Those are always difficult conversations, and learning how to manage expectations and learning how to manage up is certainly a part of, learning to be successful in this role. Obviously, difficult conversations with employees, whether it's, could be HR issues, could be personnel issues, like all of these things, happened and occurred. But again, thanks to sort of like the team that we had put together there, everyone was sort of a partner in making things. You were never stranded on your own island. There was always somebody to sort of help you through whatever issue it might be, and help you manage the process so that you get through it, right? And you learn from it, right? Like I said, like if it was a mistake or if it was like, you learn how to not let that happen again. So you grow from it.
And now you're the founder of Marqii, which helps restaurants manage their online
Co-founder, co-founder.
co-founder. Sorry, yeah, co-founder. Yeah, shout out Avi. So yeah, now you're the co-founder of Marqii.
Don't forget about Evan. Evan as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, Evan too. Yeah. Sorry. For the record, I used to work with Avi at Yelp, so that's how we all,
Oh, very cool.
we all
So
met.
Avi used to work with me at Yext. That's how I met Avi. And Evan
Gotcha.
is the one who referred Avi to Yext.
Gotcha. Very funny. Small world. It's funny
Yeah.
as you grow up in technology. It's a smaller world than you think. But yeah. So you're the co-founder of Marquee, which helps restaurants manage their online listings and online menus. And I'd love to know kind of what made you decide to start a company. Why did you team up with Evan and Avi, and kind of why this idea?
The backstory here is that, when Avi started working on the partnership team at Yext, he came on. He was, a top performer. And he was very open and honest with me when he started his career there, and saying that, like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, but I need you to know that at some point in time, my intention is to start my own company. And look, I want to be very clear, having, at that point in the history of Yext, he's not the first person that came through one of my teams and shared that conversation with me. He is one of the first, or like one of the few, that actually went ahead and did it. And my response to him at the time was, all right, well, if I like your idea, call me, I'll be your first check. And so, true to his word and true to my word, he decided to start Marqii. He shared his initial, iteration of what Marqii was with me when he left Yext. And I invested immediately, and I was actually initially a board member. So I've been a part of the journey since the beginning. I was actually, I guess we'll call it integral in helping Avi sort of talk Evan through his decision to leave his role, where he was working, to also kind of like jump in feet first with Marqii. And they ran the business for about 2.5 years before I came on board full time. It's shocking to me that full time is actually, I'm about a month away from my 3-year anniversary of being full time with Marqii, which is crazy. My decision, to join it would post Yext. I had taken some time. I took some summers to be with my family. I did some consulting work. I spent a little bit of time, working with another former Yexter at a different brand, and a direct to consumer brand, which I can tell you from experience, I will never work in a direct to consumer brand ever again. But again, enjoyed, my time away from Yext, but I always had the itch to build, right. The red tape and the long overbuilt processes that exist in these large mega conglomerations are just not for me, right. I like to move quickly. I like to break things. I like to figure things out. I like to fuck up, and I like to fix it, and then move fast. And so, Avi and Evan had been, both poking and prodding to see if I would come on board full time. I had a couple of opportunities in front of me, and I just, it was, I guess 4 months into the pandemic, and I said, sure, why not jump feet first into a hospitality tech environment? That seems like a great idea. And it was scary at first, but we got through it. We got through the pandemic, as with our product and our solution, and really the core focus of what we provide on that menu management capability for the hospitality brands we work with is really sort of like, it's taking off, and we're seeing a lot of success with it. Through all the brands that we work with, throughout the country and some global locations as well.